Dobrodošli, dragi bakte. Oprostite na... Dobrodošli, dragi bakte. Welcome, dear devotees. Drago nam je da smo se okupili ovdje u ovolikom broju. It's nice to see you here in such great number. Sad ćemo imati predavanje koje će nam dati njegova svetost Chandramali Maharaj. We will now have a lecture by His Holiness Chandramali Maharaj. So, ja bih vas zamolio za one koji ne razumiju engleski, odnosno kojima treba prijevod, da dignu ruku, tako da se znamo organizirati. Ima nas 1, 2, 3, 4. Samo držite ruke, neće se ništa dogoditi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. Maharaj digo ruku.
Isto lakše mislim da, nisu ništa.
GPS signal lost.
Who's that?
Robot driver.
Well, Mitra's girlfriend.
Virtual.
Who's the wife? You got some superstars in the back there.
Imamo neke zvijezde u pozadini.
Hey, Madhu-chan, Haribo. And fresh from the seashore, we got Tirtha Sevana. He took a vacation so he could take another one.
Išao na odmor da se može opet odmoriti.
One vacation leads to another.
Jedan godišnji vodi do drugog godišnjeg.
Thank you for the donation.
Hvala na
I
donaciji.
remember that.
Sjetit ću se toga.
I was hoping you'd add to it, but you didn't.
Nadao sam se da ćeš nešto dodati.
Hare Krishna. Omagyan Timidandasya Girajana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swam Padantikam Vandeham Shiguro Shiyuta Padekamalam Shigurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganat Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitam Cha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Shrimakti Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Paschatya Desatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimakti Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayate Kripavtaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnanam Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhur Ujjvala Premadya Sri Rupa Nuga Bhakti Da Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Vidurapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishwaraya Saksad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Asambodhe Padambo Jayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchit Ananda Namine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Parayate Gaura Vibhava Bhumestvam Nirdesesha Sajanapriya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Pevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gauda Triste Namaha Panchatattva Bhakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sravupakam Bhakta Avatar Bhakta Kyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Dayatam Siddhatam Pangor Mama Manda Matir Gati Matsarvasyat Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Rinda Kalpa Druma Sri Ratnagara Samasta Nisto Sri Sri Radha Shila Govinda Devo Vistalibi Sevyamanam Smarami Srimad Rasarasarambi Vamsi Vanta Tatasti Taha Karsan Venu Tada Gopir Gopinath Stay Studaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you all for coming.
Hvala vam svima što ste došli.
So there are four, according to Vedic astrological and what we say calendar arrangements, there are four ages of humankind: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga.
Prema vedskoj astronomiji i kalendaru postoje 4 doba u ljudskom društvu: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga i Kali Yuga.
These four ages, we are presently in the Kali Yuga, which lasts 432,000 years.
Od ta 4 doba trenutno se nalazimo u Kali Yugi koja traje ukupno 432.000 godina.
If you double that, you get Dwapara Yuga, which is 864,000.
Ako to poduplate, dobijete 864.000 godina koliko traje Dvapara Yuga.
And if you add another 432,000, you get Treta Yuga.
Ako dodate još 432.000 godina, dobijete trajanje Treta Yuge.
And if you add another 432,000, you get Satya Yuga, or what is called Krita Yuga. were the purest of all yugas.
Ako dodate još 432.000 godina, dobijete trajanje Satya juge ili Krita juge, koja je najčišća od svih juga.
And like the seasons, they follow one after another.
I kao godišnja doba, one se izmjenjuju jedna za drugom.
In Satya Yuga, which is the age of enlightenment, practically everyone was Krishna conscious.
U Satya jugi to je doba prosvjetljenja i gotovo svatko je svjestan Krišne.
There were no sinful people at all.
Uopće nije bilo grešnih ljudi.
There might be people who weren't perfect, but they were still very pious.
Bilo je ljudi koji nisu možda savršeni, ali i dalje su jako pobožni.
And the means for self-realization in that age was to meditate upon the Lord in the heart.
I sredstvo dostizanja samospoznaje u tom dobu je meditacija na Gospodina u srcu.
Astanga yoga system.
To je Ashtanga yoga sustav.
Eightfold process of yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara, pranayama, dhyana, dhyana, and samadhi.
To je osmerostruki proces koji se sastoji od koraka koje je Maharaj upravo nabrojao.
And the incarnation in that age was Kapila Muni.
Inkarnacija u tom dobu bio je Kapila Muni.
People were highly qualified,
Ljudi su bili visoko kvalificirani,
but the practice of self-realization was quite difficult.
ali prakticirati samospoznaju bilo je poprilično teško.
We have the example of Valmiki Muni, who lived in the Satya Yuga. He meditated for 60,000 years.
Imamo primjer Valmiki Munija koji je živio u Satya Yugi, on je meditirao 60.000 godina.
Because the average lifespan was 100,000 years.
Jer očekivana prosječna životna dob je bila 100.000 godina.
You might think, well, how is it possible to live in this body for 100,000 years?
Možete pomisliti, pa kako je moguće u ovom tijelu živjeti 100.000 godina?
Well, people could do it because they were highly enlightened and fully empowered by spiritual energy.
Ali ljudi su to mogli izvesti jer su bili prosvjetljeni i potpuno opunomoćeni duhovnom energijom.
That's called the golden age.
To se zove zlatna doba.
And even the seasons were in order. Everything worked according to the natural arrangement by the Lord.
I čak su se i godišnja doba izmjenjivala kako treba, sve je išlo po Gospodinovom
It
aranžmanu.
never rained during the day.
Nikad nije kišilo po danu.
It always rained in the evening time, and then when the sun would come out in the morning, everything would be wet, and then the sun would nourish the whole ground, and then everything would flourish. So people were never disturbed by rain because it was always in the night.
Uvijek je kišilo na večer ili po noći i zato to nije nikad uznemiravalo ljude, a ujutro bi zemlja već bila mokra i onda bi dobila i sunce, tako da je sve cvjetalo.
So life was long, and people were pious and very, very, very Krishna conscious.
Život je bio dug, ljudi su bili pobožni i jako svjesni Krišne.
But after some time, the next age came, and then things started to gradually deteriorate, because you have to understand, when you're in the material world, that things generally go down. That's the way it is.
Ali došlo je iduće doba i stvari su se postupno počele degradirati jer to jednostavno tako ide u materijalnom svijetu. Jednostavno stvari klize prema
And
dolje.
we come to Treta Yuga.
I onda dolazimo do Treta Juge.
Now, people would live for 10,000 years.
Ovdje su ljudi živjeli 10.000 godina.
And the means for self-realization was very costly Vedic sacrifices, Agnihotra.
A sredstvo za samospoznaju su bile jako skupe jagije, Agnihotra jagije.
And people, there was gold, very profuse amounts of gold available,
Bilo je dostupno jako puno zlata
and grains,
i žitarice,
precious metals,
dragocjenih metala.
all the best of the supply of nature's abundance.
Sve najbolje što priroda nudi.
And offering prayers into the fire chanted by Brahmins who chanted the mantras perfectly.
Brahmane su perfektno recitirali mantre i nudili molitve u vatru.
They could chant the mantras exactly the way the mantras are meant to be chanted in the proper meter, and therefore, by performing Agnihotra, people would become fully self-realized.
Oni su mogli mantrati mantre točno onako kako ih treba mantrati i zbog toga bi ljudi vršići agnihotre postali samospoznati.
But gradually the age moved from Treta, then it came to the next age, was Dwapara Yuga.
Ali postupno se pomaknulo jednostavno iz Treta Yuge je prešlo u Dvapara
And that
Yugu.
was the previous age.
To je bilo prethodno doba.
And the means for self-realization was very elaborate, costly deity worship.
I tamo je sredstvo za dostizanje samospoznaje bilo opširno, odnosno bogato obožavanje božanstava.
Even some of the deities that are present now that we worship were present in the Dwapara Yuga.
Neka božanstva koja obožavamo danas su bila prisutna čak i u Dvapara Yugi.
They would worship with gold, silver, jewels, and various beautiful, beautiful decorations, ornamentations, expensive silk and golden garments.
Njih su štovali srebrom, zlatom, skupim ukrasima, skupom odjećom.
Yeah, and so that was the previous age.
To je bilo prethodno doba.
And Krishna appears once in every 1,000 yuga cycles, very at the end of the Dwapara Yuga.
A Krišna se jednom u svakih 1000 ciklusa juga pojavljuje na kraju Dvapara Yuge.
Now you can see, as the ages change, the quality of life starts to diminish always.
Možete vidjeti kako se doba mijenjaju, tako pada standard kvalitete života.
And there's four defects.
Postoje 4 greške:
Uncleanliness,
nečistoća,
mercilessness,
nedostatak milosti,
intoxication,
intoksikacija
and lying and cheating.
i laganje i varanje.
So as the ages go down, another one of these bad qualities comes in.
I tako kako se smjenjuju doba, postupno ulaze jedna po jedna odlika, odnosno
So now, after Dwapara Yuga, and Krishna left the planet at the end of the Dwapara Yuga, in this particular Yuga cycle, now we have what is called Kali Yuga.
Krišna bio prisutan u ovom, znači, ciklusu juga gdje smo mi sad i otišao je sa zemlje na kraju Dvapara Yuge i sad smo mi u Kali Yugi.
And Kali Yuga is characterized by all bad qualities.
Kali Yuga je obilježena svim lošim odlikama.
Intoxication,
Intoksikacijom,
illicit sex,
nezakonitim seksom,
gambling,
kockanjem,
meat eating,
jedenjem mesa,
lying,
laganjem,
cheating,
varanjem
and various other good qualities.
i raznim drugim dobrim odlikama.
And this is the age of hypocrisy and the age of no one trusts no one.
Ovo je doba licemjerja i doba kad niko ne vjeruje nikome.
They don't even trust themselves.
Ljudi čak ne vjeruju ni sami sebi.
It's such a bad age.
Tako loše doba.
And the means for self-realization is worshipping an incarnation of God called Gaur Narayan.
I sredstvo za dostizanje samospoznaje ovdje je štovanje osobe božanstva koja se zove Gora Narayan.
Very simple worship of Gaur Narayan.
Veoma jednostavno obožavanje.
For 999 of the different Kali Yugas.
U 999 različitih Kali Yuga.
But once in every 1,000 Yuga cycles, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears as the incarnation.
Ali jednom u svakih 1000 ciklusa juga, pojavljuje se Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
And he ushers in the means for self-realization.
I on donosi sredstvo samospoznaje.
And what is that?
A što je to?
The congregational glorification of the Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you might think, wow, here we are in Kali Yuga, so many bad qualities, so difficult to do anything in this age. But the acharyas say, and the scriptures also say, that Kali Yuga is the best age to live in.
Možete misliti, U Kali Jugi smo što mi možemo učiniti, tako je loše doba, ali spisi i ačarije kažu da je Kali Juga najbolje doba.
Why would Kali Yuga be the best age to live in?
Zašto bi Kali Juga bila najbolje doba za život?
Tirtha Sevana, can you answer that question?
Tirtha Sevana, možeš li
Why is
odgovoriti?
Kali Yuga the best age to live in?
Because just simply by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra you can attain supreme destination.
It's so easy, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, why don't we do it?
Jer jednostavno mantrajući Hare Krishna Maha mantru možemo dostići najviše odredište. Pa to je tako jednostavno, zar ne? Da, pa zašto onda to ne činimo?
Why don't we do it?
Zašto to ne činimo?
Same person.
You ask me?
Yeah,
You're trying.
you're trying.
A pokušavamo.
It's marathon, it's not just sprint.
Yeah, it's not just like all right, now it's life begins. I'm finished my rounds.
Ovo je maraton, nije sprint. Nije da život počinje nakon što odmantramo krugove.
The Lord has made it so easy,
Gospodin je to toliko olakšao.
and He's given no restrictions.
I nije dao nikakva
One
ograničenja.
can chant anytime, any place, anywhere.
Osoba može mantrati bilo gdje, bilo
One
kad.
doesn't have to be educated,
Ne mora biti obrazovan.
coming from a good family,
Ili iz dobre obitelji.
have a good position in society,
Ne mora imati dobru poziciju u društvu.
wealthy,
Ne mora biti bogat.
famous.
Ni slavan.
There's no rules, no regulations, no requirements.
Nema pravila, propisa ni zahtjeva.
Well, why don't we do it?
Zašto to onda ne činimo?
What's wrong? What's the problem?
U čemu je problem?
Kali Yuga.
Kali Juga.
Kali Yuga has so many ways to divert our attention away from the most important thing in our life, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Because, as you mentioned, and as is said in the scriptures, simply by chanting Hare Krishna and developing our relationship with Krishna through the sound of his holy name, one can purify themselves of all material contamination, go back home and back to the spiritual world. Scriptures give that.
Kali Juga ima toliko puno načina da nam odvrati pažnju od pjevanja Maha mantre koja je zapravo najvažnija u ovom dobu.
Because it's so easy and so readily available, and there's no requirements, but still there's no taste for chanting.
To je tako lagano i dostupno, ali mi dalje nemamo ukus za mantranje.
Because of the age of Kali.
Zbog doba Kali.
Kali is always trying to divert our attention away from the goal of life.
Kali nam uvijek pokušava skrenuti pažnju sa cilja života.
Communism fell in Europe. One of the reasons why communism didn't work was because it was too strict.
Komunizam je pao u Europi i jedan od razloga za to je zato što je bio prestrog.
It was forcing people to do things or not do things.
Prisiljavao je ljude da čine stvari ili da ne čine stvari.
And therefore, after so many years, they decided communism can't work because people are rebelling against it.
Stoga, nakon određenog broja godina, odlučili su komunizam ne funkcionira jer se ljudi bune.
When you force people, they rebel.
Kad prisiljavate ljude na nešto, oni se bune.
So then the idea was, well, let's come up with another plan to get people to voluntarily submit themselves to our control without force.
I onda su htjeli smisliti drugi plan kojim će se ljudi predati njihovoj kontroli, ali svojevoljno, bez sile.
So what did they do?
Što su učinili?
They caused so much kinds of entertainment.
Izmislili su toliko oblika zabave.
Videos and games, and various types of sports, just to get people stupid.
Izmislili su videe, razne igrice, razne sportove, samo da bi zaglupili ljude.
And then sell them everything they don't need.
I da bi im prodali sve što im zapravo ne treba.
And they'll buy it because they're stupid.
A oni će to kupiti jer su glupi.
And that way you can control them.
I na taj način ih možete kontrolirati.
There was one, I read it, there was one communist Marxist who was an Italian. He said you can't control people unless you give them all kinds of useless games and activities, and through that you can control them. And that was the idea. Television, the one-eyed monster.
Čitao sam, jedan talijanski marksist je rekao, ljude ne možete kontrolirati osim ako im date razne oblike beznačajne zabave i na taj način ćete ih kontrolirati i tako je nastala televizija koja je jedno oko čudovište.
People get addicted to television.
Ljudi postanu ovisni o televiziji.
And all the stuff they see is mostly fantasy and fiction or violence and sex. That's it. That's what's on television.
Sve što vide je ili fantazija, ili fikcija, ili nasilje, ili seks.
Nothing educational.
Ništa poučno.
Years ago, when they first started television, they used to have one educational channel.
Prije mnogo godina kad su započeli s emitiranjem televizijskog programa, postojao obrazovni
But
kanal.
nobody watched it, so they took it away.
Ali niko to nije gledao pa su ga maknuli.
Didn't get any rating at all.
Uopće nije dobivao dobar rating od gledatelja.
Yeah, so this is how you control people, is just make them stupid by giving them all kinds of sense gratification.
Ljude možete kontrolirati čineći ih glupim putem zadovoljavanja osjetila.
And then you can sell them anything, you can tell them anything.
Onda im možete prodati što god i možete im reći što god.
They'll believe anything.
I oni će povjerovati u sve.
And that's how they control people. So it was using communism, which is the control factor, in the opposite way by giving excessive amount of permissiveness based on frivolous entertainment.
To je korištenje principa komunizma, ali u drugom ekstremu sa prevelikom popustljivošću, dajući ljudima beznačajnu zabavu.
But the devotees are not fooled. No?
Ali bakte nisu s time prevareni.
We still chant Hare Krishna.
Mi i dalje mantramo Hare Krishna.
And then we still make sure we don't miss our favorite television program.
I dalje se pobrinemo da gledamo svoju omiljenu seriju.
But therefore it's called semi-yuga dharma.
To se zove polu-yuga dharma.
Not quite the whole yuga dharma.
To nije baš cijela yuga dharma.
What the Islamic army couldn't do in India in 800 years, what the British couldn't do in 200 years, television did it in 20 years.
Ono što islamska vojska nije mogla učiniti u Indiji u 800 godina i ni britanska vojska u 200 godina, televizija je učinila u 20 godina.
They were trying to break that Vedic culture for years and years, the Western society. They tried everything. They introduced tractors in places of cows. That didn't work. They tried to bribe people with different ways. Nothing worked. So finally, the idea of television was exported to India. And since then, India has now become almost like the West.
Zapad je na razne načine pokušao uništiti indijsku kulturu. Uveli su traktore umjesto krava, ali ništa. Pokušali su podmititi ljude na raznim pozicijama, ništa. Onda su uveli televiziju i sad je Indija gotovo kao i Zapad.
And Prabhupada could foresee the society crumbling. People's values, people's relationships, everything was going to start to become less, and everything was going to be based on monetary gain.
Prabhupada je predvidio urušavanje društva, vrijednosti i odnosi u ljudskom društvu propadaju i sve se bazira na novcu.
So Prabhupada came and on behalf of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to help us understand where we can focus our consciousness and develop our consciousness in relationship to the goal of life.
Prabhupada je došao da nam kaže kamo da fokusiramo svoju svjesnost i kako da je razvijemo kako bismo dostigli cilj života.
So how did he start his movement?
Kako je on počeo svoj pokret?
He went out with a little bongo drum in the middle of New York City in Thompson Square Park with a few devotees at that time and started to chant Hare Krishna.
Izašao je iz tadašnjeg hrama sa par bakta u Tompkins Square Park u New Yorku sa malim bongo bubnjem i pjevao je Hare Krishna.
And Prabhupada could understand that the idea is to get as many people as possible to chant Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada je mogao razumjeti da trebaš navesti što više ljudi da pjevaju Hare Krishna.
Then we can teach him how to live.
Onda ih možemo poučiti kako da žive.
People couldn't understand how to live.
Ljudi nisu mogli razumjeti ni kako da žive.
So Prabhupada first introduced the Yuga Dharma, which was the glorification of the Lord by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Prabhupada je prvo uveo Yuga Dharmu, znači slavljenje gospodina putem pjevanja njegovog svetog imena.
Prabhupada knew that wasn't his whole mission.
A Prabhupada je znao da to nije njegova cijela misija.
He knew that the society would crumble.
Znao je da će se društvo urušiti.
He said in 1973, he said in 50 years this whole civilization will collapse.
Rekao je 73. Za 50 godina cijela ova civilizacija će kolabirati, urušiti
So
se.
50 years from 1973 is what year?
Koja godina je 50 godina nakon 73.
In 6 months. He said.
Za 6 mjeseci.
2023.
2023.
Prabhupada was not simply a great, philosophical teacher of the Vedas. He was a prophetic personality who knew past, present, and future.
Prabhupada nije samo bio filozofski učitelj Veda, on je bio proročanska osoba koja je znala i prošlost i sadašnjost i budućnost.
So Prabhupada was spreading the movement, focusing on distributing books and distributing the holy names.
Prabhupada je širio pokret temeljeno na distribuciji knjiga i širenju svetog imena.
But devotees were coming,
I bakte su dolazili,
sometimes staying,
ponekad bi ostali,
but many were also leaving.
ali mnogi su i odlazili.
You might think, but Prabhupada present, how could they leave? But they were.
Ali ako je Prabhupada bio tamo, kako su mogli otići, ali ipak su odlazili.
So in 1974, Prabhupada made a whole switch in his movement.
74. Prabhupada je napravio veliki zaokret u svom
He
pokretu.
said it's not enough just to spread the Yuga Dharma of chanting the Hare Krishna. If there was, why aren't devotees staying? Why are they dissatisfied?
Rekao je, nije dosta samo širiti sveto ime, jer ako je, zašto bakte odlaze, zašto nisu zadovoljni?
He understood we have to develop a lifestyle that is conducive to spiritual practice.
Razumio je, moramo razviti životni stil koji je pogodan za duhovnu praksu.
The present materialistic lifestyle pulls people away from Krishna consciousness, even though we're trying to practice.
Sadašnji materialistički životni stil odvlači ljude od svjesnosti Krišne, iako se trudimo
So
prakticirati.
in 1974, Prabhupada spoke about the importance of Varnashram Dharma.
I zato je 74. Prabhupada pričao o važnosti Varnašam dharme.
He said, we need to develop simple living, high thinking.
Rekao je, moramo razviti jednostavno življenje, visoko razmišljanje.
This is the future of not only our movement, but the future of the world.
Ovo je budućnost ne samo našeg pokreta, nego i cijelog svijeta.
Prabhupada thought big. He was never thinking small.
Prabhupada je uvijek razmišljao na veliko,
He was
nikad
thinking
na
how
malo.
to change the whole world, the whole society from the bottom up, all aspects of life.
On je razmišljao kako da promijeni cijelo društvo i sve aspekte života od dna prema vrhu.
And bring it back to the Vedic scheme, the Vedic culture.
I vratiti to natrag na vedsku šemu, vedsku kulturu.
So he said, now we have to build these farm communities.
I rekao je, sada trebamo sagraditi ove farmske zajednice.
Simple living.
Jednostavno
Grow your
življenje.
own food.
Uzgajajte svoju hranu.
Keep cows.
Držite krave.
Educate children.
Obrazujte djecu.
And establish a educational system for training people according to their nature.
i ustanovite obrazovni sustav kako bi se ljudi mogli trenirati prema svojoj prirodi.
He said we have to train Brahmins to become Brahmins.
Rekao je moramo trenirati Brahmane da budu Brahmane.
And we have to have Brahmins training Kshatriyas to become Kshatriyas.
I Brahmane moraju trenirati Kshatrije da bi Kshatrije postali Kshatrije.
And then we need Brahmins to train Vaishyas to become Vaishyas.
I Brahmane moraju trenirati Vaishije da postanu Vaishije.
And Sudras don't need training.
A Šudrama ne treba trening.
Yeah. So what does he mean by training?
I što on podrazumijeva pod trening?
Engaging them according to their nature in their occupational duty.
Angažirati ih prema njihovoj prirodi u njihovoj propisanoj dužnosti.
Prabhupada said we can't do it with material society. It's too topsy-turvy. It's too hard to change the society the way it is now.
Prabhupada je rekao ne možemo se nositi s materijalnim društvom, preteško je, prekaotično je i preteško je cijelo društvo promijeniti kako je sad.
But we will do it within the devotee culture, the devotee communities.
Ali učinit ćemo to unutar zajednica Bhakta.
So he said, establish a college.
Rekao je, osnujte fakultet.
He said, Varnashram college.
Fakultet Varnashrame.
And train Brahmins.
I trenirajte Brahmane.
We see in our society today we have many trained Brahmanas.
Vidimo danas u našem pokretu imamo mnoge istrenirane Brahmane.
We have very few trained Kshatriyas.
Imamo jako malo istreniranih Kshatrija.
We have maybe a little bit more trained Vaishyas.
Možda malo više istreniranih Vaishya.
So Prabhupada knew in order for to expand this society into different levels where all the aspects of society would be covered, like education, economics, politics, all the subjects that we learn in the material world would be covered within the Krishna consciousness movement.
Kako bi se ovo znanje raširilo, odnosno društvo raširilo na različite razine, moramo obraditi sve predmete poput ekonomije, politike i tako dalje, koje se obrađuju u materijalnom svijetu.
But it will be based on service to Krishna.
Ali temeljit će se na službi Krišne.
So not only Varnashram, but Daivi Varnashram.
Znači ne samo Varnashama,
Spiritual Varnashram.
nego Daivi Varnashama.
Serving Krishna as a Brahmana.
Služenje Krišne kao
Serving
Brahmana,
Krishna as a Kshatriya.
kao Kshatrija.
Serving Krishna as a Vaishya.
Služenje Krišne kao Vaishya.
And Sudras serve Krishna according to their different abilities.
I Šudre služe Krišnu prema svojim mogućnostima.
Yeah. And this is Prabhupada's dream for the future.
To je bio Prabhupadov san za budućnost.
But he said we can't do it in the cities.
Ali rekao je ne možemo to učiniti u gradovima.
The cities are too topsy-turvy.
Gradovi su previše kaotični.
It can only be done on the farm communities.
To se može učiniti samo na farmama.
So he said establish these farms.
I rekao je osnujte farme.
And when Prabhupada, towards the end of the time when Prabhupada was here, he said 50% of my movement is incomplete.
Prema kraju svog vremena on je rekao 50% mog pokreta je...
This is just before Prabhupada was left. He said 50% of my movement is incomplete.
Prije nego što je otišao, rekao je pola toga nije završeno.
So the devotees were trying to guess what he meant.
I bakte pokušavaju pogoditi što je mislio.
Does that mean you didn't complete Srimad Bhagavatam?
Znači li to da nisi završio Srimad Bhagavatam?
No.
Ne.
You didn't establish enough gurukuls? No.
Nisi osnovao dovoljno gurukula? Ne.
He said, no, we have to establish these farms.
Moramo utemeljiti ove farme.
He said these cities won't last.
Ovi gradovi neće potrajati.
And if we depend on the cities, then after some time we'll be in a situation where we cannot continue to do whatever we need to do.
I ako ovisimo o gradovima, nakon nekog vremena bit ćemo u situaciji da više ne možemo nastaviti ono što trebamo raditi.
So Europe is full of farms.
Europa je puna farmi.
There's so much farmland throughout Europe, but it's not being used properly.
I jako je puno obradive zemlje, ali ne koristi se na pravilan način.
So what I'm saying is not you don't have to like go home now and lock up your door in your apartment and then go to some farm.
Ja sad ne kažem da vi dođete doma, zaključate stan i odete odmah na farmu.
I mean, if you could do that, that's fine.
Mislim, ako možete, to je super.
And we'll have a few devotees like Divya Prabandha. He'll be smiling because he's got the place to, and a few others. But what I'm saying is that be ready.
Ono što govorim je da budite
And be
spremni.
prepared that at any time when it comes that we should be able to have a place that we can go to and immediately reestablish our lifestyle in these farms. Don't wait till everything collapses and then think, oh, well, now what do I do?
Trebamo biti spremni promijeniti svoj život i imati neko mjesto kamo možemo otići. Ne smijemo čekati do kraja dok se sve ne uruši i da se onda pitamo, a što ću sad?
You might want, now you're thinking, oh, Swamiji is speaking all kinds of ideas that it's his ideas.
Možda mislite, s vami priča koje kakve ideje koje su samo njegove ideje.
There's a planned collapse of the economic system. It's happening right now.
Postoji planirani kolaps ekonomskog sistema i on se upravo događa.
They're burning food in America
Oni spaljuju hranu u Americi
so they can create food shortages.
kako bi napravili nestašice hrane.
Farmers are burning their crops. They're being paid to.
Farmerima plaćaju
Happening right now.
da pale usjeve. To se trenutno događa.
Storage houses full of food are being burnt down.
Skladišta puna hrane se zapale.
Forced shortages.
To su prisilne nedostaci.
This is the plan.
To je plan.
The plan is to restructure the whole society and with greater control from government.
Plan je restrukturirati cijelo društvo sa većom kontrolom od strane
And
vlade.
Prabhupada could see that.
I Prabhupada je to vidio.
He said in 1972,
On je rekao u
you can
72.
hear it on the lecture,
Možete
he
poslušati
said the
lekciju.
demons are increasing
Rekao je, demoni se povećavaju.
and they'll continue to increase.
I oni će se i dalje povećavati.
But he said, don't worry,
Ali ne brinite.
Krishna will protect you.
Krišna će vas zaštititi.
Lord Maharaj was harassed by his demoniac father and Krishna saved him.
Prahlada Maharađa mučio je njegov demonski otac, a Krišna ga je spasio.
Krishna always protects his devotees.
Krišna uvijek štiti svoje bakte.
You know, he also gave the example of Devaki, who was harassed by Kamsa.
Dao je primjer Devaki koju je maltretirao Kamsa,
But somehow she took shelter of Krishna and she was saved.
ali na neki način uzela je utočište Krišne i bila je
So
spašena.
we know that, taking shelter of Krishna, we're completely protected from all dangers.
I mi to znamo, uzevši utočište Krišne, mi smo potpuno zaštićeni od svih opasnosti.
But Prabhupada wanted more than that.
Ali Prabhupada je htio više od toga.
He knew that we'd have to, in order for our society to grow and develop, we'd have to establish these farm communities.
Ali Prabhupada je htio da kako bismo rastli i razvijali se, da moramo ustanoviti farme.
And he said 4 things.
I rekao je 4 stvari.
He said, grow your own food,
Uzgajajte svoju hranu,
make your own cloth.
radite svoju odjeću,
In other words, learn how to make clothes.
naučite raditi odjeću.
You see our grandcestors, or what do you call our ancestors, they had the spinning wheel, right? And they were making their own clothes like that.
Naši preci imali su vreteno i sami su sebi radili odjeću.
He said, learn herbs and learn how to extract the essence of the herbs, learn medicine, and you can treat any disease through nature.
Naučite o ljekovitom bilju i kako izvući njihov ekstrakt, njihovu esenciju i možete izliječiti sve bolesti.
Every disease can be cured through nature.
Svaka bolest se može izliječiti prirodom.
God has provided that.
To je Bog dao.
But it's a science you have to learn.
Ali to je znanost koju morate
There's
naučiti.
one devotee in America.
Jedan bakta u Americi
He has a herb business.
ima posao s ljekovitim biljem.
He calls it Blue Boy Herbs.
On to zove biljke plavog dječaka.
Blue Boy is Krishna.
Blue boy je Krišna.
And I was with him one time. We were walking around the forest near New Talavana, our farm. He was saying, well, this plant is good for this medicine, this plant is good for this medicine. So he could point to all the different plants and show you which plant is good for this medicine. He had learned the science quite good. And he was making his own herbs, selling it, and also helping devotees with that.
Bili smo na farmi na Novoj Talavani, šetali smo okolo, pokazivao nam je bilje i rekao je ova biljka ti je dobra za ovaj lijek, ona ti je dobra za onaj lijek. On je to dosta dobro naučio i pomagao baktama da
How
nauči.
much money do we spend on medicine?
Koliko novaca trošimo na lijekove?
Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the healing herb.
Krishna kaže u Bhagavad Giti, ja sam ljekovito bilje.
In other words, he's put all health remedies in nature. It's just a matter of learning the science.
Dakle, on je stavio sve ljekovite tvari u prirodu, samo treba naučiti tu znanost.
So then that was the third one. Learn herbs and
To je bila treća stvar.
extract herbs and learn how to treat illnesses through herbology.
Naučite prikupljati ljekovito bilje i izvući ekstrakt iz njih i tretirati bolesti.
And then he said, build your own houses.
I onda je rekao, sagradite vlastite kuće.
When Prabhupada was in New Vrindavan, that's when I was there back in 1975. Prabhupada said, here's how you should live. Give me a piece of paper and pencil.
Prabhupada je, kad smo bili u New Vrindavanu 75. rekao je, ovako trebate živjeti, dajte mi olovku i
And
papir.
very carefully he drew a house.
Pažljivo je nacrtao kuću,
Simple house.
jednostavnu kuću,
You know, enough for 4 people.
dovoljno za četiri
Mother,
ljudi.
father, and 2 children.
Majka, otac i 2 djece.
Prabhupada said, build these houses for the devotees.
I rekao je, gradite ove kuće za bakte.
You have plenty of forest land. You can use the fallen trees to make wood and build houses.
Imate puno šuma, možete ovo drveće koje padne samo, uzmite i koristite i izgradite kuće.
So we called it the Prabhupada house.
To smo zvali Prabhupadova
It was
kuća.
a nice simple abode.
To je bila jednostavna kućica onako.
So Prabhupada was very enthusiastic to help us understand that the way we live now with these cities is not going to be the future.
Prabhupada je bio veoma entuzijastičan da nam objasni da način na koji sad živimo u gradovima, to neće biti budućnost.
So I think every devotee should have a plan in due course of time when it's required to go to farms. If you want to go to farms now, some of you are already doing farming. That's good. But sometimes we have farms with 1 or 2 or 3 devotees that are working the farms all by themselves. And if more devotees come, as they say, what is that old saying? Many hands make easy work.
Ponekad vidimo da bakte rade sami na farmama. Mi trebamo imati plan gdje ćemo otići kad se ovaj sistem uruši. I kaže se da mnogo ruku čini rad lakšim, tako da trebamo pomoći onim baktama koji su sami na farmama.
And it's healthy life.
To je zdrav život.
You want to stay healthy, work outside.
Ako želite biti zdravi, radite vani.
That's very productive at the same time.
I jako je produktivno.
We sit in front of the computers.
Mi sjedimo pred kompjuterima,
Our eyes get burned.
spale nam se oči,
Your back starts to hurt.
leđa vas bole,
Our neck can't twist from left to right without full of pain.
vrat se ne može pomaknuti lijevo desno bez da boli,
We fall asleep in front of the computer.
zaspemo pred kompjuterom.
I mean, computers are valuable, they're useful,
Kompjuteri su korisni i vrijedni,
but they're not the main thing in life.
ali one nisu glavna stvar u životu.
They shouldn't be either.
Ne bi trebali biti.
So what I'm saying is this more simple lifestyle is also in general a healthier lifestyle.
Ovaj jednostavniji životni stil je također zdraviji životni stil.
I'm preaching to many of you who are already doing it, and that's good.
Propovijedam mnogima od vas koji već to radite i to je super,
But we want more of it
ali želimo još više toga.
and see it as the future of our movement and the future of the world.
Gledajte to kao budućnost našeg pokreta i budućnost svijeta.
And there's many reasons. And Prabhupada said, he said, we have 2 solid activities in our Krishna consciousness.
Prabhupada je rekao, imamo 2 čvrste aktivnosti u svjesnosti Krišne.
So what did he mean by 2 solid activities?
Što je mislio po time 2 čvrste aktivnosti?
He means when you put time and energy in that, you will get success.
Rekao je kad u nešto uložiš vrijeme i energiju dobit ćeš uspjeh.
And what were those two activities?
Koje su te dvije aktivnosti?
Book distribution,
Dijeljenje knjiga
farm communities.
i farmske zajednice.
See, these two things, when you put time and energy in this will spread our movement.
Kad uložimo
Book
vrijeme i
distribution, farm communities.
kad uložimo vrijeme u dijeljenje knjiga i u farmske zajednice, te stvari će rasti i tako će i naš pokret narasti.
But for grihastas, with families, farms are perfect.
Za grihaste sa obiteljima farme su savršene.
Why? Because we can also school our own children. Can you do that legally now? Has it been, no? You still can't school your own children? The communist rule is still in place yet? Is there's attempt to change that, isn't there? Yeah. I know many countries, they're happy if you keep your kids home. So they don't have to have, they don't have to teach so many kids.
Zašto su farme savršene za grihaste? Zato što možete obrazovati svoju vlastitu djecu. Kod nas, navodno, to još nije moguće, ali u nekim državama su sretni što im ne šaljete djecu u školu.
I think they're trying to change that and make it possible.
To se pokušava promijeniti i učiniti mogućim.
And that way, if you send kids to these public schools, what do they learn?
Ako šaljete djecu u državnu školu, što ona nauče?
You know, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and who else?
Uče o Mickey Mouseu, Pašku Patku i kome još?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Manu.
What else? Anything else? Who did I left out? Batman, oh yeah. And now it's not Batman, it's Badman. So the society is ridiculous.
Društvo je smiješno.
It's not only soul killing, it's completely ridiculous.
Ne samo da ubija dušu, nego je potpuno
If
smiješno.
you send your kids to school, they become stupid.
Ako šaljete djecu u školu, ona postanu glupa.
They can't think.
Ne mogu
There
razmišljati.
was a statistic
Bila je statistika,
that they did a survey
napravili su istraživanje
with young kids that were like 3 and 4 years old,
s mladom djecom, 3-4
and
godine.
they could understand that these children, 90% of the children they evaluated were potential geniuses.
I 90% djece koje su istraživali su bili potencijalni geniji.
But when they grew up and went to school, all that was gone.
Ali kad su odrasli i otišli u školu, sve to je nestalo.
Yeah, you become stupid.
Postanete glupi jednostavno.
And you watch television and you become more stupid.
Gledate televiziju, postanete još gluplji.
And if you eat, carmy food, then there's no hope for you.
Ako jedete karmi hranu, onda nema nade za vas.
So this whole society has nothing to offer to devotees, nothing, zero.
Ovo cijelo društvo nema ništa za ponuditi baktama.
Therefore,
Ništa,
Prabhupada's
nula.
movement was to make a society within the society and build that and let that become the greater society in due course of time.
Prabhupadov plan je bio sagraditi društvo unutar društva koje će tad narasti i postati veće od ovog društva tijekom vremena.
Prabhupada said, the cities will collapse, and if we have our farm communities, people, the secular people, the people in the material world will come to our farms looking for shelter.
Prabhupada je rekao, kad mi ustanovimo farme, kad se gradovi uruše, svjetovni ljudi će doći k nama tražeći utočište.
And then immediately we should engage them in work.
I odmah im trebamo dati da rade.
And then later, once they work enough for devotees and the farms, then we can start educating them in spiritual topics.
I jednom kad su dovoljno odradili za bakte i za farmu, onda ih možemo početi obrazovati o duhovnim temama.
First Varna, then Ashram.
Prvo Varna, onda Ashram.
Yeah. So, even the secular people are seeing that this whole society is collapsing.
Čak i svjetovni ljudi vide da se cijelo društvo urušava.
Yeah. It's like, I guess you don't even have to, you probably know this. Inflation, prices are going up like crazy, isn't it?
Znate i sami, inflacija je, cijene se dižu ko lude,
correct?
jel točno?
Everything is costing more and more and more.
Sve
and more and
košta
more.
sve više i više.
Yeah. And it's going to continue.
I tako će se nastaviti.
The government wants all your money, not just some of it.
Vlada želi sav vaš novac,
They
ne
want to
samo
get
dio.
everything.
Žele sve.
This tax, that tax.
Ovaj porez, onaj porez.
Prabhupada talks about it's called durviksha. Durviksha means the governments will tax people to death, so much so that people will leave the cities and go into the forest.
Prabhupada priča o tome, to se zove durvikša. Vlada će toliko oporezivati ljude praktički do smrti, dok oni ne odu iz gradova u šume.
And if they can't do that, they start a war somewhere.
A ako ne mogu to, onda negdje pokrenu rat.
And so the demons are very powerful now,
Demoni su sada jako moćni,
but they can't win, obviously.
ali očito ne mogu pobijediti.
Lord Chaitanya is here.
Gospodin Chaitanya je ovdje.
But we are Lord Chaitanya's devotees.
Mi smo bakte gospodina
And
Chaitanya.
by following Lord Chaitanya,
Sljedeći gospodina Chaitanyu,
and which means following Srila Prabhupada,
odnosno sljedeći Šrila Prabhupada,
chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra,
mantrate Hare Krishna Mahamantru,
distribute books as much as you can,
dijelite knjige koliko god možete,
inspire other people to chant Hare Krishna,
inspirirajte druge da mantraju Hare Krishna,
educate your children in Krishna consciousness,
obrazujte djecu u svjesnosti Krišne
and establish these farm communities.
i utemeljite farmske zajednice.
This is the future.
To je budućnost.
I'm just one of millions of people who are speaking like this.
Ja sam
It's not
samo
like,
jedan
this
od-
is not like my opinion.
Ja sam samo jedan od milijuna ljudi koji govore istu stvar.
But this is
Ovo nije samo moje mišljenje.
just like you have this place. This is nice.
Kao što imate ovo ovdje, ovo je jako lijepo.
You can make agriculture here.
Možete li se ovdje baviti poljoprivredom?
If you have one cow,
Ako
that's all you
imate
need is one cow.
jednu kravu, to je sve što vam treba.
And agriculture,
A poljoprivreda?
well, Divya Prabandha is laughing when I said one cow. So
Divya Prabanda se
He
smijao
knows
kad je
it's very-
rekao
You
jedna
can
krava.
donate cow to them.
Mi možemo donirati kravu.
you can donate. They have, and then you have all your food problems. You don't have to work for money and then buy food in the markets. You can get your food from agriculture, from cows.
I na taj način su prehrambeni problemi riješeni jer ne moramo kupovati hranu nego imati svoju.
Prabhupada also was expert at health
Prabhupada je također bio ekspert za zdravlje
and nutrition.
i prehranu.
So what did he say?
Što je rekao?
He said, milk products and grains are necessary for human life.
Rekao je, mliječni proizvodi i žitarice nužni su za ljudski život.
He said, fruits and vegetables are extra.
Voće i povrće je dodatak.
These are the things you have to have, grains and milk products.
Žitarice i mliječne proizvode morate imati.
Grains are obviously for, to give stamina to the body and strength.
Žitarice daju snagu tijelu,
And milk products to give you brains.
a mliječni proizvodi da vam daju mozak.
Yeah. Prabhupada said, by drinking a little milk every day, you develop your finer brain tissues, which are necessary for understanding spiritual topics.
Prabhupada je rekao, pijući malo mlijeka svaki dan razvijate finija moždana tkiva koja su potrebna da biste razumjeli uzvišene duhovne teme.
Not too much milk.
Ne previše mlijeka.
But here, just like Divya Prabandha's got some nice cheese and milk, and
Divya Prabanda također ima dobar sir i mlijeko.
I feel really happy today because I had some of his cheese.
Ja sam jako sretan danas jer sam jeo njegov sir.
If I wasn't telling you a class, I would just tell jokes because I feel happy.
Da danas ne dajem predavanje, samo bih vam pričao viceve jer sam jako
It's all due
sretan.
to his cheese.
Zbog njegovog sira.
Yeah, see, just by eating, you become Krishna conscious.
Jednostavno jedenjem postajete svjesni Krišne.
Stand as a statement, you are what you eat.
Kaže se, ti si ono što jedeš.
Yeah, and look at Krishna. He was a fat little baby.
Pogledajte Krišnu, on je bio mala bucmasta beba.
And what did he steal?
I što je krao?
He didn't steal like kachoris
Nije krao kačorije,
or hamburgers.
niti hamburgere,
Or chocolate.
niti čokoladu.
He didn't steal chocolate. He stole butter.
On je krao maslac.
Because he knows this is the best stuff.
Jer je znao, to je najbolje.
I get fat and healthy and I feel happy.
Ja se udebljam i zdrav sam i osjećam se super.
Yeah, so, we can take lessons. Don't try to steal butter. We have plenty here.
Nemojte pokušavati krasti maslac, imamo ga dovoljno.
But these milk products and grains, and then of course add vegetables and fruits to supplement that, and you have everything you need for healthy diet.
Uzmete mliječne proizvode i žitarice i onda voće i povrće samo da nadopunite i imate zdravu prehranu.
We don't need any government.
Ne treba nam nikakva vlada.
Krishna is the only government, he supplies everything.
Krishna je jedina vlada i on daje sve.
There's a group of people in America, they're called the Amish.
Postoji grupa ljudi u Americi, oni se zovu Amiši.
And they're farmers.
Oni su farmeri.
And they build their own houses.
I oni grade svoje kuće.
They don't send their kids to any schools.
Ne šalju djecu u školu.
And they don't have any transportation except horses and buggies.
I nemaju nikakav prijevoz osim konja i kočija. Jesu li oni pravopadovi učenici?
Indirectly.
Indirektno.
Yes, you're right.
Da, upravo si.
And they don't believe in government.
I ne vjeruju u vladu.
They don't pay taxes.
Ne plaćaju porez.
Because they don't believe in government. They don't take any government services, and therefore the government leaves them alone.
Ne uzimaju ništa od vlade i stoga ih vlada ostavlja na
They
miru.
have their own schools, everything.
Imaju svoje škole i sve.
2 years ago, actually 3 years ago,
Prije 2, odnosno 3 godine,
about 10 of us devotees, we came from the Gitanagari farm, and we went to see one of the Amish communities, and we spent about 6 hours there just asking them questions. How do they live? How do they worship?
prije nas 10 bakta je prije 2-3 godine došlo sa Gita Nagari farme tamo u Amišku zajednicu i 6 sati smo im postavljali pitanje kako žive, kako štuju Boga.
Kalakanta, Minister of Cow Protection, he arranged it, and he came along with about 10 of us, and we sat there asking them questions, getting some insights on how to develop our own farms.
Kalakanta, koji je ministar za zaštitu krava, je došao i zajedno s njim je došlo nas 10-ak i mi smo tamo sjedili i postavljali im pitanja kako bismo dobili neke uvide da bismo mogli razviti svoju zajednicu.
And they're very religious also.
Jako su pobožni.
They follow a type of Christianity coming from Germany.
Slijede vrstu kršćanstva koja dolazi iz Njemačke.
So there's an example of a community that has developed practically self-sufficient.
To je primjer zajednice koja je praktički samodostatna.
And when their children grow up,
A kad njihova djeca odrastu,
when they get about, I think 19 years of age,
kad postanu, dožive 19 godina,
they say, okay, you leave for a year and you go out and live in the secular world.
ok, sad možete otići na godinu dana iz naše zajednice i živjeti u materijalnom svijetu.
They let them try what it's like to live outside.
Daju im da probaju kako se živi vani.
And the majority of them all come back after 1 year.
I većina ih se vrati nakon godinu dana.
Because they don't force their kids to stay, but they want to teach them that, okay, you want to go out there, go for a year, and if you like it, stay. If you don't, come back. And mostly everyone comes back.
Oni ne prisiljavaju djecu da ostanu u njihovim zajednicama, nego kad navršite 19, idete van na godinu dana i ako vam se sviđa, ostanete, ako ne, se vratite.
So, what I'm basically saying is that we should be developing more of a communal aspect in our society.
Trebamo u našem društvu više razvijati taj aspekt zajednice.
But in order to do that, we have to have something to center around.
Ali kako bismo to mogli napraviti, trebamo naći nešto oko čega ćemo se okupiti.
Of course, we come together for chanting,
Naravno, okupimo se kako bismo mantrali
for
sveto ime
serving.
i kako bismo
If we
služili.
develop these farm communities, then we can create community at the same time, a lifestyle that is conducive to both health and spiritual practice.
Ali kad bismo imali farmske zajednice, mogli bismo imati način života koji je i zdrav i povoljan za duhovnu praksu.
And those who know farms, you don't work the farm the whole year.
A oni koji znaju kakav je život na farmi, znaju da se na farmi ne radi cijele godine.
You take care of the agriculture, and you do it for about 8 months a year, and the other 4 months you take rest.
Brinete se o poljoprivredi nekih 8 mjeseci, a ostalih 4 mjeseca otprilike odmarate.
You do something. In other words, you have free time.
Imate slobodnog vremena.
Who has free time now?
Ko ima slobodnog vremena danas?
Nobody.
Niko.
It's just like there are people now in the material world. They have these they have these little houses in resort areas.
Sada ljudi imaju u materijalnom svijetu neke kućice u rezortima kao odmaralištima.
But they don't live there.
Ali ne žive tamo.
They live in a city.
Žive u gradu.
And they work in the city.
I rade u gradu.
And they think,
I misle,
when I get old, I'll go to my house in the countryside.
Kad ostarim, preselit ću se u vikendicu.
In the meantime, they get somebody else to live there and take care of the house.
A dotle neko drugi tamo živi i brine o kući.
And if they have animals, those people take care of and they hire people to take care of the animals and take care of their house. They work hard in the city, and they pay these people to take care of their house.
Znači oni rade teško
That's so stupid.
u gradu i onda plaćaju ljude koji će živjeti u njihovoj vikendici i održavati ju i koji će se brinuti o njihovim životinjama.
I'm sorry, I'm using
To je toliko
strong
glupo.
language here.
Žao mi je što takve izraze koristim.
But it's, if you have such a place, why don't you use it?
Ali ako imate takvu kuću, zašto ju ne koristite?
Well, we use it when we get old.
A koristit ćemo je kad ostarimo.
When you get old, you can't use it. Then the place is using you.
Ali kad ostarite, ne možete ga koristiti. Onda ta kuća koristi vas.
He lived in the city and he died in the country.
A on je živio u gradu i umro je na selu.
That's about it.
To je otprilike to.
So, this society is upside down. We shouldn't go upside down with the society.
Dakle, ovo društvo je okrenuto na glavce i mi ne bismo isto tako trebali biti okrenuti zajedno s njim.
So, be prepared, because things will start to deteriorate more and more.
Budite spremni jer stvari će sve više i više propadati.
And be ready to, at any time to go and either establish farms or support present farms.
I budite spremni ili otići ustanoviti farme, utemeljiti ili podržati već postojeće.
And it's great for kids.
To je super za djecu.
Okay, so therefore Kali Yuga is the best age.
Stoga Kali Yuga je najbolje doba.
Because chanting Hare Krishna is the simplest, most direct, and easiest means for self-realization ever.
Jer mantranje Hare Krishna je i najjednostavniji i najlakši proces samospoznaje ikad.
So chant Hare Krishna
Mantrate Hare Krishna
and milk cows.
i muzite krave.
Really?
Stvarno.
Now, they have a thing now called cow therapy. Have you heard of it?
Sad postoji nešto što se zove kravlja terapija.
It's a
Jeste
real
to
thing.
čuli? To stvarno postoji.
People who are lonely or psychologically depressed or sick,
Ljudi koji su usamljeni, deprimirani ili bolesni, psihološki,
but they don't recognize it.
većina da, ali oni to ne prepoznaju.
If everybody's sick, that's normal.
Ako su svi bolesni, to je već normalno.
It looks like it's normal because everybody's like me.
Izgleda da je to normalno jer svi su ko ja.
And so they charge people to come and stay with cows and just be with cows. And then after some time, they get over their sickness, their depression, just by living with cows.
I oni,
Cows are so auspicious.
oni naplaćuju ljudima da dođu i provode vrijeme s kravama, jer krave su jako povoljne. Jednostavno bivajući s kravama
See,
sve
there's one
bolesti
here
su.
somewhere. Where is he?
Evo,
Where'd you
ovdje
put
je
him?
neka krava. Kamo ste je ostavili?
There's another one.
Evo još jedna.
That's the bull.
A to je big.
So cows are so auspicious. to have
Krave su toliko
cows.
povoljne.
Yeah. It says that Lakshmi resides in cow dung, cow stew.
Rečeno je da Lakšmi prebiva u kravljoj stolici, izmetu.
You take cow dung,
Uzmite kravlji izmet,
you mix it with water,
pomiješate ga s vodom,
you take cow urine,
uzmete kravlji urin,
and you combine these two
izmiješate to dvoje
with milk,
s mlijekom,
yogurt,
jogurtom
and ghee,
i gijem
and you bathe the deity.
i onda kupate božanstvo.
We put cow dung and cow urine on the deity.
Stavljamo kravlju balegu i kravlji urin na božanstvo.
Cow is pure.
Krava je čista.
Everything about the cow is pure.
Sve u vezi krave je čisto.
The cows are very loving animals.
Krave su životinje koje daju puno ljubavi.
You treat them very kindly and they become very, very affectionate.
Ako se lijepo ponašate prema njima, one vam daju puno nježnosti.
I mean, now what do people take care of?
A za koga se danas ljudi brinu?
Don't come here.
Nemoj dolaziti ovdje.
This is my house.
Ovo je moja kuća.
Man's best friend,
Čovjekov najbolji prijatelj.
the dog.
Pas.
We don't have anything against dogs.
Nemamo ništa protiv pasa.
Krishna created dogs too.
Krishna je stvorio pse.
He knows what he's doing.
On zna što radi.
But compared to cows,
Ali u usporedbi s kravama
don't have to compare it.
nemate što uspoređivati.
What do the cows do? What do dogs do?
Što psi rade?
They pass stool.
Oni jednostavno kakaju.
And what do cows do?
A što krave rade?
They pass stool.
One kakaju.
What do cow stool use for?
A za što se koristi kravlje?
You can use it for
kravlje
bathing the
izmet?
deity.
Možete kupati
You
božanstvo.
can use it for cooking.
Možete kuhati.
You even have, if you have cuts on your body, you can put cow dung on the cuts and you
Ako imate porezotine, možete staviti balegu na
try that
porezotine.
with dog stool.
Probajte to sa psećim izmetom.
You'll die.
Umrijet ćete.
Dog stool contains dysentery. That's a statement by Prabhupada.
Pseća stolica sadržava dizenteriju, odnosno
Dog
bakterije.
stool is full of disease.
Ona je puna bolesti.
Yeah, but that's man's best friend.
Ali da, on je najbolji čovjekov prijatelj.
Kali Yuga.
Kali Yuga.
So everything is upside down.
Sve je okrenuto naopako.
Instead of G-O-D, it's D-O-G.
Umjesto B-O-G, to je sad D-O-G, znači pas.
That's my deity.
To je moje božanstvo.
His name is Fido.
Njegovo ime je
Hey, Fido.
Švrčo.
I was doing Japa walk today in a very quiet area by Mahatma's house there.
Danas sam imao Japa walk kod Mahatmine
Chanting
kuće.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. I chanted a little faster.
Malo sam brže mantrao.
So I thought, well, I think this neighbor is not so friendly. So
Mislio sam ovaj susjed vjerojatno nije prijateljski.
yeah. So, well, I have a very close friend of mine who takes stray dogs off the street and gives them shelter and takes care of them.
Jedan moj bliski prijatelj pokuplja pse lutalice s ulice i brine se o njima.
He lives in Mayapur.
On živi u Majapuru.
He takes stray cows from the street and gives them shelter and stray dogs also.
I on također brine i o napuštenim kravama s ulice i o psima.
But then as soon as the dog gets a master,
Ali čim pas dobije...
that's my master.
Moj
Don't go
gospodar,
close. Don't get near me.
nemoj mi se približavati.
I'm practicing.
Vježbam.
Yeah, maybe it might be my next life.
Možda će to biti moj idući život.
I try for that. That's better.
Probat ću to je bolje.
So yeah, what I'm trying to show by all of this is this society is so dysfunctional.
Pokušavam s ovime dokazati da je društvo toliko
And Krishna
disfunkcionalno.
consciousness is a lifestyle. It's not simply a religion.
A svjesnost Krišne je životni stil, nije samo religija.
If you think it's a religion, then you're missing the whole point. It's a complete lifestyle.
Ako mislite da je to religija, potpuno ste promašili. To je cijeli životni stil.
All aspects of the human needs,
Pokriva sve aspekte ljudskih
and
potreba
all aspects of social and political arrangements. Everything is in Krishna
i
consciousness.
sve aspekte socijalnih i političkih aranžmana. Sve je u svjesnosti Krišne.
Prabhupada's mood was, let's re-establish Vedic culture.
Prabhupadovo raspoloženje je bilo hajmo ponovno uspostaviti vedsku kulturu.
Well, Prabhupada knew it wouldn't happen unless the present civilization collapses.
A Prabhupada je znao da se to neće dogoditi osim ako se sadašnja civilizacija uruši.
But while it's collapsing, we have to be working towards developing that lifestyle that is conducive to happiness, health, and spiritual practice.
Ali dok se ona ruši, mi moramo graditi životni stil koji je pogodan za sreću, zdravlje i duhovni napredak.
Okay. Thank you. Madhuchan Prabhu.
Hvala vam.
Maharaj, I have one question. I agree 100% with what you said,
Imam jedno pitanje, slažem se.
and actually it's my vision also what you're saying.
To je i moja vizija.
But I want to say one challenging problem actually in
Ali
this.
je jedan izazovni problem.
For example, it's not just something what is happening to me, but other devotees
To se
have same
dešava
problem fulfilling this.
i meni i drugim baktama.
For example, I'm trying now to build some farm.
Pokušavam napraviti farmu
It's no, and from all devotee community, I just could get one devotee to help me.
i mogu sam naći samo jednog baktu da mi pomogne
And,
iz cijele zajednice.
I would say, Jehovah Witness, for example, when they build the house, all community come together and everybody helps build the house.
A Jehovini svjedoci kad grade kuću, svi dođu i grade kuću.
So I would say not just me, but many devotees have some projects where they are alone, one, two, struggling to maintain this.
Yeah.
Somehow everybody has his individual struggle, but together we don't have nothing. So what we can do to make, must make somehow this connection really closeness to develop.
Well, it'll happen one of two ways. Either you do it, or when things start falling apart, you're forced to do it. You can wait for the crisis, and then you'll start to wake up. Oh, we better get it together. Or you can just think, well, everything's okay now. I still have my television. I still have my iPhone. Everything is okay. And so there's no need to, there's a few people out there that they like farms, so let them go. I still got the plug in I can turn on my electricity by throwing a switch on. In other words, people don't see the need because they're stuck or situated where they are.
Problem je u tome što ljudi ne vide potrebu za tim jer su ljudi zapeli ili su situirani u ovoj situaciji gdje jesu. Neka idu na farmu oni kojima se farme sviđaju. Ja upalim prekidač i evo struje, nema problema. Znači, bakte se muče sami na farmama i sa nekim projektima, a u drugim vjerskim zajednicama ljudi pomažu jedni drugima. Ja?
What brings people together is crisis.
Ono što ljude dovodi zajedno su
But why
krize.
wait for a crisis?
A zašto čekati krizu?
Know that the crisis will come. Might as well prepare for it now.
Znajte da će kriza doći i pripremite se sada.
But we can't think beyond. We think, everything's okay.
Ali mi ne možemo razmišljati unaprijed. Razmišljamo, pa sad je sve ok.
So, yeah, like you say, there's a few people here, a few people there doing something, and everybody else is still working for the non-devotees.
Da, kao što kažeš, ima par ljudi na ovom projektu, par ljudi na onom projektu, a svi ostali rade za bakte.
What to do? I
A
mean,
što ćemo?
we need a crisis. And
Treba
that's the only
kriza.
thing that'll pull people together.
I to je jedina stvar koja će nas povezati.
And it'll happen.
I to će se dogoditi.
But sometimes when it happens, you're not prepared either.
A ponekad kad se dogodi nismo spremni.
Prabhupada spoke about the future in order for us to avoid a crisis.
Prabhupada je govorio o budućnosti kako bismo mi izbjegli krizu.
Yeah, it's like A man, Prabhupada gives the example, a man is sitting on a tree
Prabhupada daje primjer, čovjek sjedi na drvu
and he's sawing the branch on the inside.
i pili granu sa one strane prema drvetu.
Another man comes along and says, hey, if you keep sawing, you're going to fall.
I drugi čovjek dođe i kaže mu, ako nastaviš pilit, pašćeš.
He keeps sawing.
I on dalje pili
Falls.
i padne.
Goes to the guy, hey, you're a prophet.
I dođe do ovog lika i kaže, pa ti si prorok.
How did you know that?
Kako si znao?
What does it take to wake people up?
Što je potrebno da bi se ljudi probudili?
Falling down.
Yeah,
Moraju pasti.
yeah, it takes a crisis.
Potrebna je kriza.
But intelligent people will say, well, I can avoid the crisis by preparing now.
Inteligentni ljudi će reći, izbjeći ću krizu tako da se sad pripremim.
And even if you say, well, this lifestyle that we're living will go on for a while, it's a soul-killing lifestyle. There's nothing good about it.
Čak i ako kažete ovaj sadašnji životni stil će potrajati još neko vrijeme, to je životni stil koji ubija dušu, nema ništa dobro u tome.
Establish these communities.
Utemeljite ove zajednice.
And community is strength.
A zajedništvo je snaga.
Sharing resources.
Dijeljenje resursa.
Sharing abilities.
Dijeljenje sposobnosti.
Everyone has certain abilities.
Svako ima neke sposobnosti.
If you put so many people together, then everything that's needed is there within the people.
Ako skupite puno ljudi na istom mjestu, sve što trebate je na jednom mjestu.
You'll have carpenters, you'll have electricians, you'll have plumbers.
Imat ćete stolare, električare, vodoinstalatere,
You'll have farmers,
farmere,
you have teachers,
učitelje.
you'll have all kinds of occupations and abilities when you create community.
Koje kakva zanimanja i sposobnosti kad stvorite zajednicu.
So you have to see the benefit of that.
Morate vidjeti koja je dobrobit u tome.
So yeah, you're right. It is a problem.
Dakle, da, ti si u pravu, to je problem.
But Krishna will help us.
Ali Krishna će nam pomoći.
He'll speed up Kali Yuga until we...
Ubrzat će malo Kali Jugu.
Yes. Hare Krishna.